We'll show you not one, not two, but all the moves in this one. Celebrate the victories with all of your favorite Cardinal athletes. We bring you all the best because that's always our point. Sports Night is next.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Joe Young.
And I'm Howie Shapiro. We have a pretty exciting show. We got something right off the top of the show to talk about that's really exciting.
Really exciting.
Yep.
It was so much fun to be a part of the football game at the home stadium last Friday night, and we knew while we were doing it that it was wild. It was amazing.
Yep.
But all that transpired in the last 4.5 minutes of that football game, for it to be packed into that amount of time is just
crazy. It was
incredible.
Crazy. Yeah, it really
incredible.
was. I mean, nonstop action.
And the highlights are almost 5 minutes long because there were that many, and there's still a lot of stuff we couldn't fit in. And we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about as well, but fun to be in mid-season form on Sports Night.
Well, like I said during the game, I think towards the end of the game we could do Sports Night a half hour just on the football highlights.
Well, the football team is still undefeated on their home field after a wild win over Champlain Park on Friday. It was the first meeting between the old rivals in 7 years, and it became the Cardinals' first win over the Rebels since 2006. Champlain Park came in off back-to-back wins and were probably favored by most. But the Cardinals didn't get that memo, and they made a statement as they scored a solid victory over a very good Rebels team. Lots of highlights in this one. We start with Champlain Park opening drive, 8 plays to go 65 yards. Preston Telke to Jaden Basemore with a great catch of the back corner. Rebels up 6-0 after a missed PAT. Cardinals answer quickly. Jacob Maddock 5 for 5 on the opening drive. Great diving catch by Harold Berry gets them to the 1-yard line. Berry had 4 catches for 48 yards. Next snap, they go play action in the middle. Maddock to Lofton Ogroski for the score. Cardinals take the lead with a Jackson Young point after. Rebels on the run again, 2nd and 9 from the Cardinals' 13. Telke's pass is off the receiver's hands right into the lap of C.J. Adler, and he's headed upfield with an escort. Check out Kaijan come up and block the quarterback out of the way, trying to lead him to the end zone, but he's tracked down from behind. Added an unsportsmanlike call at the end, means 1st and goal from the 10. 3 plays later, Maddox's second strike of the night, right up the middle to a wide-open Jared Fearing. Cardinals take a 14-6 lead late in the first quarter. Kaijan Cummings-Coleman is so much fun to watch. He only had 2 catches in this game, but both were electrifying. This one, a little receiver screen to Kai on the right side, makes the first guy miss, finds his way all the way across the field, gets great downfield blocking, cuts back, finds the end zone, a 75-yard touchdown to put the Cardinals up 21-6. Rebels right back into Cardinal territory, but they struggle with the snap several times in this game, and this one costs them huge. Samson LeClaire is going to come up with it when the dust settles, and is at the Rebel 40-yard line. Cardinals eat up the rest of the half on the drive, and it ends with this beautiful pass and catch from Maddock to Jared Fearing. Fearing's second score of the game. He had 3 catches for 24 yards. Also led the Cardinals with 16 tackles. 28-6 at the break. Cards start with the first ball. First play of second half goes off Ogroski's hands, pops right into the hands of Arthur Russell. Ogroski said it hit the turf, but it's ruled an interception. Rebels turned it into points. 3 minutes later, Telke on the sneak from the 1, cuts into the lead 28-12. After a Cardinals drive stalled, the Rebels get right back to running 5 straight run plays to go 65 yards. Russell finishes it with a 19-yard run around the left side. They get a 2-point conversion. It's a 1-score game all of a sudden. Under 5 minutes, Cardinals 3rd and long, deep in their own end. Kaijan strikes again. Another screen play, makes one guy miss, then another. Then it's a foot race, and no one is going to catch him. Not even come close. 2 catches, 162 yards, and 2 scores. Cards up 35-20 late. But we're not done. Champlain moves quickly to answer. Telke able to buy some time and then find Jamel Chroma alone in the middle of the end zone. We're back to an 8-point game with 2:15 to play. Cardinals' very next offensive play. Danny Scheller shows that C-squared isn't the only explosive element on this offense. He takes it 60 yards down the sideline untouched until the very end. 99 yards on the night for the sophomore. Ensuing kick Rebels show that they've got some guys who can do some things too. Arthur Russell is going to take this one from just inside the 15-yard line, goes all the way to the right side, and watch the moves along the sideline, makes a couple of guys miss, then comes all the way back across to the near side. Russell led the Rebels with 120 rush yards. He runs more than that 120 yards on this return, but not quite able to go the distance, tripped up and stopped at the 3-yard line. 2 plays later, Telke rolling right on the option. He'll keep it, dive in for the score. 41-34 Cardinals with 1:34 on the clock. Everyone in the building knows the onside kick is coming. Unfortunately, the Cardinals can't secure it. Champlin's Deshaun Sturdivant able to fall on it, and the Rebels offense back on the field with a chance to tie. 3rd and 8 from the Cardinals 27. Telke steps up, fires for the end zone, but Kaijan able to undercut the route, get the interception, seal the win for the Cardinals. Crazy amount of action in that last 4 minutes and 20 seconds or so. Kaijan, he's got 3 interceptions this season. 2 of them have been almost that exact same scenario. A pick near the goal line to seal a win.
It's amazing because I've seen those plays a number of times because I watched them over again after the game. Every time I see that, it excites me, and I get that same feeling. He's so electric on the field. He's so good. And again, he doesn't need much to make a guy miss, and then he takes to the house. A couple of things I want to touch on. I thought Jacob Maddock played really well.
Really well.
I think he played better than he did the week before. I thought he did a really nice job when he needed to run the football, take the football and run with it, and I thought he did a nice job of throwing on the run. We also talked about everybody, Coach Nick Keenan, the head coach of Champlin Park, says, oh, no, we got to watch for number 2 and number 7. We talked about Jared Fearing. He was so involved in that game. He's such a good complement to those other 2 guys. And they showed that when the other guys are covered, they can go to him.
Well, and clearly they made an effort, conscious effort, did the Cardinals, to get Fearing involved, to get Harold Berry involved. Biggest offensive night for Harold Berry.
Yep.
It was sad that he came down with it at the half-yard line.
I was hoping he was going to score.
Would have liked to see him get in the end zone. Ogroski, the numbers were modest, but they clearly tried to spread the ball around. I mean, Kaijan, 2 catches. I think there were 6 targets, maybe. But not a ton of targets. They made a conscious effort to run the ball. Would have loved to have seen Danny Scheller get that one more and get a 100-yard game.
I was thinking the same thing.
There was a blocked extra point in that last 4.5 minutes too.
It was so much action.
It was so much fun to be a part of.
Yeah, and you had touched on it. Said, C-squared isn't the only one with the wheels, and that run by Scheller as he got around the end and took it to the house. It just shows you that there's so many weapons on this team.
Yeah, and again, we could go on and on and on, but a lot more to get to. Let's take a quick peek at the standings. This is pretty impressive. Cardinals right in the mix. 3 teams of 3-1 after Maple Grove beat Anoka relatively soundly last week. Blaine, Champlin Park, Coon Rapids now all tied at 2-2. St. Michael, Albertville 1-3. And Osseo is at 0-4. Upcoming for the Cardinals, they have Anoka coming to the stadium on Friday night. It's Hall of Fame game. A number of notable Cardinals and their families will be presented before the game. And the Cardinals are trying to turn it into a winning streak, but that Tornadoes team is pretty good.
Yeah, they're really good. It's also celebrating the anniversary of the 1983 championship team. Those all members who are going to, hopefully, a number of them will be in attendance. That should be a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, I expect it to be a wild environment for sure. They are on the road against Maple Grove, so 2 teams that are in that group at 3-1 the next 2 weeks. Moving along, the tennis team, they're actually finishing their regular season tonight. We're doing the show on Tuesday. Last week, 2 matches. They beat Anoka by a 5-2 score. Gabby Newton, Michelle Lee, Eason, and Semensky all winning in straight sets at singles. Ruddy and Hayden got the win for the Cardinals, also in straight sets, 6-4, 6-1 at first doubles. Then on Thursday last week, they lost to Champlin Park by a 7-0 score. All of those scores were also in straight sets. But Coach Storik's email still very positive about the strides the girls are making and the way they're playing out their points better later in matches. They are hosting Rogers, I believe, today, and then on Tuesday next week, they will start the 5AA tournament. There is no crossover game this year.
Always gets exciting. Well, the volleyball team, they went into last Wednesday meeting with Centennial needing a bounce-back win. The Cougars had just had 4 wins on the season and were coming off back-to-back losses to Anoka and Osseo. So while they're ahead of the Cardinals in the standings, they were definitely beatable. Tight contest in the opening set. Cardinals get this one to Tatum Shevchuk, and she delivers with the kill. This one is anybody's game until the very end. Unfortunately, it's the visiting Cougars getting the bigger runs at the biggest times. Quick turn on this volley, and they attack with Lena Hawk in the middle. She puts it to the floor, and the Cougars pull away 25-20 for a win in the first. Similar story in the second. Cardinals trailing but keeping the Cougars close. Bella Nelson with a solid attack on the right side. The home team is within striking distance. But again, it's the Cougars pulling away at the end. They go back to Hawk in the middle. She fires this one straight to the floor. Centennial takes the 2-0 lead with a 25-18 win in the second. We are early in the third. Jersey Robb receives. Jersey Robb finishes with a solid kill. The Cardinals are playing with some desperation, trying to extend this match. But unfortunately, Centennial is just too much. One more time to Hawk. She fires to the floor with some emphasis. Cougars sweep at the Fieldhouse with a 25-21 win in the third. Tough one there.
Yeah, it's been a rough go for the Cardinals, and they knew that it would be. They've also got a young squad, numbers down a little bit, but a lot of positive energy with new head coach Talana Radzidas, and that's always a transition as well. They're more than midway through the season, only a handful of wins, but right about where they were really last year.
Right.
Take a look at their scores from Thursday last week. Went down to St. Louis Park, also lost in 3. Kept all the set scores close, 25-20, 25-16, and 25-22. Upcoming, the Cardinals are hosting Spring Lake Park tonight and Champlin Park on Thursday at Howie.
We'll be there both nights. Right after this show, we're going to go to cover the volleyball match.
Yeah, a little bit of another CTN
doubleheader.
outfit swap on our way
Yes, we're going to do a
over.
wardrobe change, quick one. Joe goes into the CTN phone booth and changes into Superman. Yeah.
Well, moving right along, the swimming and diving team sees times dropping every time they take the pool. And that trend continued last week against Anoka. While the improvements may not translate to team success, there's been plenty for this young team to celebrate already this year. And that's making new head coach Ashley Radis extremely proud and excited for the future of the program. Just a couple highlights from last week's meet with the Anoka Tornadoes. We start with the first event, the 200 medley relay. Cardinals relay team is all underclassmen. Starting with sophomore Lillian Defoe and freshman Evelyn Altepeter. Then it's freshman Emily Lovin and junior Gabrielle Lewis finishing it strong. They post a solid third place finish with a time of 2 minutes, 13.54 seconds. Move to the 50 free, the splash and dash, and a couple of Cardinals claiming podium spots in this event. Lillian Defoe again takes second place in 28.38 seconds. Just a half second behind her is junior Liz Hogarth, taking third place. From the shortest race to the longest, Gabrielle Lewis, the only Cardinal competing in the 500 free against Anoka, and she clearly holds her own. She kept their leader close until the very end and had better split times at the end of the race than the Anoka leader. She takes solid second place with a time of 6:03.11. And finally, Lillian Defoe in the 100 backstroke. Meet already decided by this point, but Defoe still posts a legitimate first place finish. She gets to the wall in 1 minute, 10.49 seconds. Cardinals lose 96-69, but they feel pretty good about the effort and the progress, and there's no reason to believe that won't continue.
Well, the fact they have such young athletes in some important positions, important spots, is good for the program. Obviously, we've talked about the issues with not a lot of numbers in this program. So hopefully, some of the kids will see this success and want to join.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone out there who knows anyone that's interested and eligible to be a girls' high school swimmer, Definitely
for sure.
get a hold of Coach Radis. They would like to see the number of that program double or triple in the next couple of years. They're at Rogers on Thursday. They will host Maple Grove a week from Thursday. Cross-country team had the GRIAC invite last Friday over at the University of Minnesota. This is one of the largest events in the nation for amateur cross-country. Cardinals in the Maroon division, and boys finished in 22nd place. Lachlan Demmer, a 40th place finish. Norquist was in 62nd, and James in 89th. Coon was in 168th, and Burnett in 189th. On the girls' side, best individual finish for a Cardinal is Ruby Demmer. Not a huge surprise. She finishes 31st overall in a time of 21:38.2. Lily McKenzie was 144th. Martinek is next, and then Ella Legree and Hannah Burnt finishing in the low 200s. But a 31st place finish, that's a little below midway. I think there were 57 or 58 teams total in those events. Each of those divisions, which they ran in, had 330 some athletes.
They held their own.
So nobody having a really poor showing. Everybody, and Coach Denny Green has kept a blog for that program for years. And it is a great resource to be able to read. And he raved about how people did on that course against that competition. Very impressed with where they are and at the right time. On Saturday, rather, they had the cross-country Mustang. They had the Mustang Invitational over in Mounds View. They had over 1,700 kids. Every single one of the Cardinals who ran. They only had one team who had enough to actually qualify as a team, the boys JV team, and I think they finished 5th. But every single Cardinal who ran a season or personal record.
That's so great to hear. I love to hear those stories.
They are all at the Osseo Invite on Thursday, and then they have the Northwest Suburban Conference Championships on Wednesday, the 11th of October.
We'll have highlights. Actually.
We will.
Yeah, we will have highlights of that. All exciting stuff. Well, the soccer teams had 3 big conference matches last week, starting with a trip to Blaine on Monday. The boys came into the week hot, 2-0-1 in their previous 3, and hungry to keep it going. The Bengals were just ahead of them in the standings, and it was a tight contest between 2 evenly matched squads. Cardinals still looking for that kickstart on offense, hoping to come against their rivals. Blaine on the attack early. They fed it deep into Marcus Kita. He beats the defender but pushes it all the way across the mouth of the net. No score at the half. Cardinals with a chance on a free kick early in the second. A.J. Sauve goes direct to the net, but the keeper makes a diving save. Blaine striking in transition, long through ball played in the middle. Kita is able to stay in it, spin around, fire it to the top of the net, and get Blaine on the board. Well, a nice goal there. The Bengals are looking to make it 2 on a penalty kick, but Luke Rising makes a diving save to his left, keeps his team within 1. Rising has played big all year long, and it continues against the Bengals. Pressure coming down the right side. Blaine with a chance on the redirect, but another sprawling save by Rising keeps it to a 1-goal game. Nice job by him to make that save there. And the Bengals eventually able to break through, though. Kita gets it past the defense, and Rising then leaves it from Mohammed Ajumali to finish it off, and the Bengals blank the Cardinals with a 2-0 victory. There you go.
Yeah, Luke Rising has been huge for this Cardinal program, and he got himself another shutout on Thursday night last week. He stopped all 12 shots that he faced against Spring Lake Park. I'm trying to think. I believe he's got 4 shutouts, all 3 of their wins and one scoreless draw.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that to confirm, but he's been huge. Kish had the goal for the Cardinals on an assist from Sovi. Cardinals 3-4-2 going into Saturday's game. That did not go so well. This time they were on the wrong side of a shootout of the shutout. Shut out.
A shout out for the shutout?
Shout out for, yes, for the shutout. They were on the wrong side of the shutout as they lost to the Cougars by a 5-0 score. Rising made 7 saves in that one. They are at Totino tonight and at Armstrong on Thursday, so a couple of road games for our soccer teams this week. Girls team faces that same tough 3-game set as the boys last week, but their test probably even more daunting. Cardinals went into Blaine flying high with a couple of wins in the previous week, but the Bengals are currently undefeated and ranked 5th in the state. They averaged more than 4 goals per game and had only allowed 1 goal all season. Cardinals coming off their best offensive output of the year, but facing a huge test in Blaine. Bengals bring the pressure early and often. Addison Stadden takes it deep to the right corner, sends the cross in tight. Abby Newby all alone to hammer it home, puts Blaine on the board. Still in the first half, and a gorgeous pass up the middle sends Jordan Pascarella in alone. Stella Bone comes out to challenge, but Pascarella fires it to the net. It's 2-0 Blaine. The long through ball play pays off again. Just minutes later this time, it's Tessa Zachman colliding with Bone, but scrambling back to the ball to finish. Blaine up by 3. Move to the second half. Cardinals bring pressure and capitalize on a Bengals mistake. Short pass bounces free, and Sophia Bakri puts a beautifully lofted shot up and over the outstretched keeper. And that gets Coon Rapids on the board. Don't forget, they had only allowed 1 goal all year to that point. It was 6-1 at that point, and again, that's just the second goal they've allowed all year. They had one more. Great diving save by Stella Bone, but the rebound is pushed home. Blaine wins convincingly 7-1.
That's a tough one to give up because you've got that ball in your hands. You just can't control it, and Blaine's right there for the easy rebound. They're good. They're good.
Very good.
Yep.
They did not back off just because the Cardinals have struggled. But the Cardinals, even losing 7-1, they scored 1 goal against a team that's only given up 1 other goal all year long. And then on Thursday, while they lost to Spring Lake Park 5-1, Kaylee Alphin got a goal for the Cardinals, and they're on the board again. Remember, even in a 5-1 loss, they can find the positive that they got on the board. Even in an 8-1 loss, as it was on Saturday, same story. Stevenson had the goal for the Cardinals this time, but goals have been so hard to come by. Even to put a marker up and just to avoid that shutout is huge for this team that had many games lost by shutout.
Yes, absolutely.
Last year had a couple at the beginning of this year. Just to get on the board is big.
It's huge, and and when you lose 5-1 and you lose 8-1, you have to take some silver lining out of it. And the fact that they, as you mentioned, they got on the board, the fact that they scored, they can take that, but then obviously have to grow from there.
Well, they are going to have to grow on the road. They're at Totino tonight, at Cambridge Isani on Saturday, so they also have a couple of road games coming up. Before we go, we want to take a moment to express our deepest condolences from all of us here at CTN to the family and friends of Ken Sundstrom. Ken Sundstrom was the original baseball coach at Coon Rapids High School from its opening until sometime in the mid-90s when Jerry Coe took over. He passed away Saturday at the age of 90 years old, Saturday the 16th, at the age of 90 years old. Leaves behind his wife, Pat, of 70 years, 6 kids, 21 grandchildren, and 10 great-grandchildren.
Wow, 70 years of marriage. That's amazing. Amazing.
And what he has done for this community is amazing. He's been a part of the community all throughout those 90 years. The baseball field is named in his honor, as it was 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Roughly. Sad loss, and definitely our condolences to Ken Sundstrom's family.
Yeah, I ran into Jerry Coe, and he said, I think I heard that Ken Sundstrom passed away, and I hadn't heard anything of it yet. And so when I was looking at the paper on Sunday, I did see his obituary in the paper, and I sent a message to you. We need to talk about this on the show because of the impact that he made in this community.
Well, and it was
not only in the baseball community, but the community in general.
And he did, in his obituary, it did talk about baseball and what a big part of his life it was. And his loss will be felt by hundreds or thousands throughout this community. But hopefully the Cardinals baseball team will continue his traditions and keep his memory alive.
I'm sure they
as
will.
they continue to play at Sundstrom Field.
Yep.
On that somewhat somber note, we want to thank everybody out there for joining us. Take a look at what we've got coming up. We've got a couple of volleyball games coming up this week, followed by football on Friday against Anoka, girls and boys soccer doubleheader next Monday against Park Center. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young, saying good night.
A former Coon Rapids High School baseball coach is being honored for his work on the field. Ken Sundstrom coached baseball at the school from 1964 to 1991. During those 27 years, his teams recorded 377 wins and were state champions in 1980. Now the school is remembering the well-respected coach by dedicating a plaque for all his accomplishments.
When I first found out about it, I thought it was just a wonderful surprise, and I really do feel honored because Coon Rapids has meant so much to me over the years.
But I remember the respect that he commanded from his players. Anybody who played for Coach Sundstrom they respected him and listened to everything he said.
Sundstrom touched thousands of lives during his years at the school and helped build the baseball program to what it is today.